Hello, my name is Gerald Evans, Foorsville, Maryland, journalism major.
My name is Autumn Ellison from New Jersey, elementary education major.
My name is Christian Moore. I'm from Rochester, Michigan, political science major.
My name is Damari Franklin, a criminal justice major from California.
My name is Amber Malloy. I'm from Virginia, and I'm a criminal justice major.
And our project is on Otzi The Icemen. Enjoy.
Have you ever wondered what people looked like 5,000 years ago? Let's take a journey back to the past to show you how far we have come in evolution. In this blast from the past, you will learn about the different aspects of the Otzi man and how he relates to us in today's world. I can't tell the story alone, so with the help of my friends, we will tell the story about the Otzi man and his impact. Let's begin.
Before Otzi's death, and despite his healthy lifestyle, he suffered from whipworm, joint pain, and tooth decay associated with a diet of only grains. But his problems didn't stop there. Researchers also found that Otzi showed evidence of Lyme disease, which makes him the earliest known human being with this disease. Study co-author Albert Zink, a paleopathologist at the Institute for Mummies and the Iceman at the European Academy of Bozen in Italy, expressed how him and his team were surprised that he had a very strong disposition for cardiovascular disease and that they didn't expect people who lived so long ago to have already had genetic setup for getting such kinds of diseases. Also, researchers found that Otzi had several genetic factors that increased his chance of heart disease, such as mutations in the 9th chromosome and calcium buildup in his arteries revealed by a computed tomography. Autosomal DNA analysis has shown that Otzi is most closely related to Southern Europeans. Unusual markers on the Iceman's male sex chromosomes uncovered at least 19 genetic relatives in Austria-Tyrol region. The match was made from samples of 3,700 anonymous blood donors in a study led by Walter Parson at Innsbruck Medical University. They shared a rare mutation known as GL91. The study used Y chromosome markers that are passed from father to son to trace the Neolithic migrations that brought farming to Europe via the Alps. Otzi belonged to a Y chromosome group called haplogroup G, which is rooted in the Middle East. Otzi's blood cells go down in record as being the oldest known blood cells to ever be identified. These cells retain the dimensions of modern-day blood cell samples, providing much more information about Otzi than in previous findings. Zink and his colleagues took tissue samples from Otzi's arrow wound and from an earlier wound on his hand and used a light microscope to identify round objects that looked a bit like red blood cells. They then used a device called an atomic force microscope, which works by feeling rather than seeing an object, to believe that their finding was indeed red blood cells. They had been preserved for 5,000 years. To confirm their finding, the researchers used a technique called Raman spectroscopy and discovered that the suspected blood cells had all the markers of true red blood cells, including hemoglobin. Zink said that while other researchers have attempted to identify blood on older stone cells, this is the oldest definite confirmation of blood.
So we all know of the famous celebrities who love to decorate their bodies with art in the form of tattoos, right? As you may know, tattoos are normally very unique. We all know that Otzi, the Iceman, was discovered in 1991. Not only was he found, but a few of his tattoos were discovered as well. But in Otzi, the Iceman's case, his were simply horizontal or vertical lines. Boring, right? It was long believed that Otzi had around 50 tattoos on his body. However, some researchers suspected there were others, no longer visible to the naked eye due to the darkening of his skin over time. Using cameras with specialized lenses that capture different wavelengths of light, ranging from ultraviolet light to infrared light, they now have discovered that he has 61, which are organized into 19 different groups. They are known as the oldest tattoos on the face of the earth. Unlike modern-day tattooing methods, the tattoos were not produced with needles and ink, but with fine incisions into which charcoal was rubbed. The first tattoo was found on the frontal part of his torso. Most of the scientists believe that the tattoos served as therapeutic or diagnostic purposes for the Iceman because they were grouped into clusters around joints where he was suffering from joint and spinal degeneration. However, the most recent tattoo inventory showed that the last tattoo found showed no signs of an ailment. It seemed as if the Iceman just wanted to sport tattoos for style, just like the rest of us. Well, at least until scientists proved why they were present. Unfortunately, until then, his body to us is just a human canvas with no explainable art.
Otzi is very known historically. He's been dead for more than 5,000 years and poked and probed by scientists for the last 20. Yet Otzi the Iceman, the famous mummified corpse pulled from a glacier in the Italian Alps, continues to keep many secrets. Exactly 20 years ago, on September 19, 1991, German hikers Erika and Helmut Simon spotted something brown while walking near a melting glacier in the Otzi Alps in South Tyrol. As they got closer, they realized with horror that it wasn't just some sort of rubbish. A human corpse was lying with the chest against a flat rock. Only the back of the head and the bare shoulders and part of the back was emerged from the ice and melt water. The hikers thought that the body belonged to an unfortunate victim of a mountaineering accident a few years back, and in fact they discovered one of the world's oldest and best preserved mummies. An incredible chain of coincidence allowed the Iceman to remain intact. He was covered with snow shortly after his death and later by ice. The deep gully where the Iceman lay prevented the body from being grounded up by the base of the glacier. Therefore, the body wasn't exposed to the damaging sunlight and wind but for a short time. In 1991, between the time the mummy was thawed and accidentally discovered, it was an Austrian reporter, Carl Wendell, who first named the mummy Otzi, referring to the Otzi Alps. It was a lot of commotion on whether he was found on Italian or Austrian land. A survey on the border carried out October 2nd, 1991 established a mummy that lay 303.67 feet from the border in South Tyrol in Italy.
In many ways, Otzi the Iceman was considered to be a world sensation. To begin, after Otzi was discovered, Conrad Spindler, an archaeologist and professor, was brought in to date the corpse. After inspecting the body and conducting a C14 analysis, he dated Otzi to be over 4,000 years old. This was incredible due to the fact that until this point in time, no human corpse had ever been found anywhere else in the world that was this old. The Iceman lived between 3,350 and 3,100 BC. Additionally, Otzi the Iceman was also a world sensation because of his huge effect on pop culture. After being discovered, Otzi caused a great deal of media buzz and was also the subject of many TV shows. To this date, Otzi is still one of the oldest mummies to ever be discovered in this world. However, his age is not the only unique thing about his discovery. In addition to his age, Otzi was also a wet mummy. A wet mummy can be defined as one which is capable of retaining humidity in individual cells. What this further means is that the body tissue was more elastic, and this allows scientists to conduct and perform very detailed scientific investigations. Otzi effectively allowed scientists to get a snapshot of what the world was like when he was around. Lastly, Otzi also created a great deal of talk when people began to talk about his corpse possibly being cursed. A few people who were a part of the recovery and the investigation have died, and much of the press has said that these deaths were related to the curse of Otzi. All in all, these are the factors that played effect into Otzi becoming a world sensation.
Our journey has finally come to an end. We hope that you've learned a few things from our blast from the past. The history of Otzi gave us a better look at our Earth and the world in ancient times. His body has heavily influenced findings related to biology in today's world. He was a sensation because of how old his body was when he was founded, interrupting television and radio stations to tell about him. Otzi's body art opened up the minds of many scientists because it gave a foundation to the meaning of the tattoos. Thank you for tuning in with us. Hopefully, we have given you a better understanding of the amazing Otzi man.